I'm getting so tired. I'm getting so.
Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show. Let me ask you a question. If something happened to one of your loved ones that was in prison, right? How far would you go to find out the truth about what happened to them? Huh? How far would you go? See, some people, they hear about the things that go on in here and they'll chalk it up to this is prison and so on and so forth, right? But do you always know if you're being told the truth? You know, whether it be your family member telling you what's going on, the warden or somebody at the prison, the chaplain or whatever, do you believe what you're being told? Because let me tell you something. A lot of times, the stories that you get, even from somebody that knows you, that might know something about what happened to your loved one, or from your loved one themselves, or from somebody that works at the prison. Look here, sometimes, those rare occasions, right? Sometimes, you're not going to be told the truth. And there's a lot of different reasons why that could happen. It could be because, don't nobody really know what happened. They might be trying to cover it up. You feel what I'm saying? All different types of things, right? Your loved one might not want you to know what really happened to them because they're embarrassed or whatnot. But let me tell you a story about this guy named Leon. Now, Leon was the apple of his mother's eye. She loved him dearly. I mean, she loved him dearly. But see, Leon had an addiction problem. And this addiction problem drove him to do all kinds of just things that made no sense. I'm telling you now, you know those types of people where they go into like a CVS or a pharmacy and they'll steal all the lighters and stuff like that and then go try to sell them. See, this was Leon. Leon would do things like that. He would do small petty stuff like that. And the people knew him. His face was up at all the Walmarts and the Krogers and the CVS's and all those types of places saying, this person is not allowed. Be on the lookout. It was like a wanted poster that prevented him from being able to go into shop into places in his own hometown because he was just an old petty thief. Petty thief. But he was trying to find a way to get enough money to buy the drugs that he needed to satisfy the addiction that he was in. His parents were not giving him the money anymore. They were the types, his mother especially was the type, she said, I am not going to enable you. I am not going to help you get high. I'm not going to help you kids. So she used to tell him that all the time. She was telling that all the time. And she meant it. But that didn't stop him from quitting. See, because addiction is serious. It's real. It's real, y'all. And people find it very hard to stop. But people that have never been addicted to anything, they find it hard to understand. Just stop. But it's not that easy. And it wasn't that easy for Leon. See, Leon had stole something out of a store. There's a new store that opened up in the town that he lived in, right? A boutique. And they didn't know anything about him. So he goes up in there, him and a couple of friends, right? And they're stealing all kinds of clothing out of it, stuffing it down in their shirts and stuff like that. They got a backpack, they're stuffing this stuff down in, and they run from the store. And when they were running from the store, the woman yelled, help, help, you know what I'm saying, trying to get the attention of the guard that's in the boutique. The guard in the boutique, he sees them and he runs after them, and he can't catch them. They jump in the car, and when they get in the car, they speed away. And when they were speeding away, oh my goodness, they hit the corner and ran straight into a telephone pole. Bam, just like that. Now, Leon was injured, bad. But his friend, one of the friends that was with him, because there's 3 or 4 of them, he ended up in the hospital in very, 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 very serious condition. Now, Leon and the other 2, they're sitting in jail. They're sitting in jail. And they have already been told that if this boy dies, they could possibly be charged with his death. Sound crazy, don't it? But it's real. Yeah, if you commit a felony You commit a felony in the process of doing that and somebody gets hurt, whether that person is an accomplice of yours or not, yeah, you can be charged with that. You didn't know that, did you? While you're running around trying to do all of this stuff out there, you better be careful. So anyway, now they're freaking out, panicking because they got these addictions riding on their back, and now they're being told they might be charged with murder if this boy don't pull out of it. But luckily for them, he pulled through. And when he pulled through, guess what? He woke up to a pair of handcuffs and some shackles in the hospital bed. And a few months later, when he recovered fully, he was transferred from the hospital wing at the jail, and then put right on the floor with them. And they all were facing serious charges, right? Serious charges, because the stuff that they stole, it was valued at over $2,000. Oh yeah, they passed that threshold where it was not a misdemeanor where they can get 1129, but now it's a felony where they can get prison time. Oh yeah, they passed the threshold. Just shoplifting, y'all. Shoplifting. And guess what happened to them for that stealing? They went in front of the judge. And again, this is a small town. And the judge was very familiar with them. And he told them, he said, you know what? I'm going to teach y'all a lesson. I'm going to throw the book at you. And he said, the maximum I can give you for this charge that you're under is 6 years. And he gave it to him. Leon about had a fit. He about had a fit up in that courtroom. 6 years? 6 years, he going off, right? So the guards, they standing behind. They always standing behind and to the side of the judge and all this and that. Or they walk towards him. Now, Leon is frail. That dope done ate him up. He can't do nothing. Look like a stick on a stick. You understand what I'm saying? So they tell him, calm down. So he's going off. So now the officers, they grab him, put him in handcuffs. And his mother, she's sitting there in the audience. You know how the people be at the courtroom. She's sitting there and she's crying. And he turns around and he looks at her. And, in his manipulative ways, because, when you're an addict, you learn to manipulate real good. And he said, Mama, please help me. She said, I'm going to do everything I can to help you, baby. But you stay strong. Now, they took him and his friends back to the jail, right? And then listen to me. Usually in most places, right, my understanding, if you get under 8 years, that you can stay at the jail. And sometimes they'll make you a trustee so you can work and get more days and get out sooner, right? They almost give you 2 for 1. So if he got lucky, he could be out in 3 years, maybe sooner, if he worked as a trustee. So they offered him a trustee job. Well, Leon, not being clean yet, he walked off the detail. Because when you was a trustee, he would go to the courthouse and clean up at the courthouse and stuff like that. Now, he would see different people coming to the courthouse with different cases and stuff like that. And a couple of those guys that he saw, they were drug dealers. So one day when he saw them, he told them, he said, man, bring me something. So they did. And when they brought him something, he got high. And then guess what? He walked off. And now he's got an escape. Walked off from the work detail. They caught him a few minutes later. It wasn't a big deal. He couldn't even get away. It's just that now he lost the trustee job. And when he lost his trustee job, he pissed off the sheriff of the jail. And the sheriff of the jail said, you know what? It's time for you to learn a hard lesson. We're shipping you off to prison. He said, you'll get your help what you need in there. You won't get it here because you don't want to listen. So now Leon is panicking because he don't know when he's going to get shipped. You get shipped out from the jail twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, heading to the penitentiary. Usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Tuesday comes, did nothing happen. Thursday comes, did nothing happen. Go through the weekend, he's thinking maybe he's safe. Tuesday come, did nothing happen. Thursday come, bag and baggage, man. Pack up, man. You're going to the penitentiary. You're going to the penitentiary. He panics. He ain't never been to the penitentiary. He don't know nothing about that. All he knows is a story that he's heard while he's been at the jail. And when he's talking to some of his friends on the street. He don't know nothing about doing no time. So they ship him off to the penitentiary. And when he gets to the penitentiary, look here, some people that come to the penitentiary, they just fit right in. And Leon was that type of person. Fit right into all the stuff that was going on. It was fast. People selling dope, people shooting dice, people playing spades, radios loud, all of this and that, right? And he felt like he was on the block. Felt like he was on the block, but he didn't have no money. So what does he do? He calls home and he tells his mom, I need some money to buy some commissary. She said, I got you. She put some money on his books. He tries to buy the dope. They said, no, we don't want no commissary. We want money. You got to send us some money. So back in the day, you send the money through Western Union. Y'all remember Western Union? I don't even know if they still in business, but anyway. She sent the money through Western Union. He made up some lies and told her that it had to come through Western Union. She didn't know anything about it. So she sent the money through Western Union and once he got the numbers, he gave them to the guys. So they called to verify that the money was at Western Union. Then they had their loved ones go down and pick up the money. Now he's getting high. Back at it. And over time, his mother started to figure out, you're not eating that much. You're not eating that much. So she came to visit him. And when she came to visit him, she saw him. He was barely able to keep his head up during the visit. He was so high. So high. And she, not knowing, not understanding what's really going on, she asked the officer at visit, why is he like this? You got to keep in mind, see, some people, when they first encounter the prison culture and all, they don't know, that asking questions, even though you have good intentions, you're trying to help somebody, asking questions like that can put your loved one in danger. So she asked the officer, why is he like this? What's going on? Is he high? So the officer looks at her, not really understanding why she's basically telling that her son is high. He said, let me check him out. And he goes to look at him. He tells him to come in the back. And she can't go in the back. They take him in the back. And then they come out and tell her the visit has been suspended. Send her home. So she's like, why? What's going on? And he told her, he said he's high. We just gave him a piss test. He failed it. We're taking him to the hole. He's going to the hole. So when they took him to the hole, he's in the hole. He's freaking out. He's freaking out. He starts banging his head on the door, the cell door. Bust his head right in the middle of his forehead. Split his head. He just keep banging his head on the door. So they go in there and they put him in handcuffs and whatnot. Then they take him to the psych unit. Take him to the psych unit. Hit him with that needle. Try to calm him down. It didn't work. Then they hit him with that real deal and it worked. Put him down. Put him to sleep. When he came to the next couple of days, they put him back on the compound after he talked to the doctor. He was just fine. But see, what happened was this. See, what his mama didn't know is that he was supposed to ask her for some more money at visit so he could pay his debt. You feel what I'm saying? When he came from visit. But because of all of the things that happened, his mom asking that question, him failing the piss test, he going to the hole, then going to the psych unit, he has been gone for like 3 or 4 days. And now they put interest on it. And just on GP, they smacked him around a little bit. They smacked him around. Now keep in mind, he had already split his head back there in the hole in the psych unit. You know what I'm saying? That's what made him put him in the psych unit. But they done smacked him around. Now he's really scared. Keep in mind, he ain't got but a 6-year sentence. You feel me? So he calls his mom. And he tells his mom, I need this money or they gonna kill me. I need this money. I need this money. And she said, I ain't got no money to send. I told you, like when you was out here, I'm not gonna enable you. She said, I'm not gonna do that. And he pleaded and he begged with her. He said, please, Mom, you don't understand. And she said, I understand. I understand that you getting high. And you getting high is what got you in there. And I'm not going to continue to send you money and help you stay in there any longer than you have to. And she hung up the phone. And when she hung up the phone, he looked around and he saw the individuals that he owed money to. They came up to him. They said, is everything straight? He lied to him. He said, yeah, it'll be straight this afternoon when I call back. So that afternoon, when it came time for him to call back, he don't come out of his cell. He's scared. His cell is like, what's wrong? He's like, man, nothing. I'm just going to stay in. Now, he knew something was wrong with him because he was the type that was running around always trying to find something to get high on. So when his cellar came out, the couple of the dudes that he owed money to, they went in there. And when they went in there, you could hear it all in the pod. They ended up roughing him up. I mean, they banging him up. And let me tell y'all something about these cells. There ain't nothing in these cells but concrete and steel. That's it. If you're fortunate you be at a penitentiary, you might have a porcelain sink and a toilet. But more than likely, everything is steel and concrete. That's it. So when you're fighting somebody in those types of surroundings, that type of area, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. So as they are beating him up in there, they banging him up, throwing him around, he's hitting his head on the steel. He's hitting his head on the concrete floor. And he's bleeding. He's leaking. But that's the penitentiary, y'all. That's what happens in here when you don't pay your bills. So they walk out of the room and they tell him, you better get that money. And you ain't got it all day. So he looks at him and he's crying and he tells him, I'm going to get it, please, I'm going to get it. So he staggers up to his feet. And when he gets on his feet, he falls back down. And when he falls back down, the door opens back up. And he looks up and it's his cellie. And his head dropped. And he lay on the floor. Took one big deep breath. And he stopped breathing. Stopped breathing. His cellie panicked. He ran right back out the cell and he hollered, officer, my cell is hurt. So the two dudes that had just come in the cell and whooped him, they grabbed him and said, man, ain't nothing wrong with him. He's straight. And they told him, keep your mouth shut. That's what you do. Keep your mouth shut. So they went in the cell and they found him laying in the floor. He's dead. He's gone. So they start to clean up the cell. They put him in his bunk, cover him up, put him under the sheets, right? Just have his head showing, wipe the blood off his face. He's in the bed. Now they've cleaned up all the blood off the floor. They come around. It's count time that night. His cellie knows what's going on. He's afraid to go in the cell. He refuses to lock down. They don't play that in the penitentiary. Time for lockdown, you get your butt in that cell or you go into the hole for interfering with an officer's duty. So that's what they did. They took him to the hole. And then they locked the cell door. They looked in there with the flashlight. They saw his cellie like he was in the bed asleep. They didn't bother to go in and shake him to see if he was awake, to see if he was alive. None of that. So they finished the count, cleared the count. When they clear the count, that means everybody is accounted for. Everybody is in the penitentiary where it's supposed to be. But one of those bodies was dead. Wasn't no life in that body, and that was him. So as Leon lay in the bed, he's dead. Don't nobody know, right? So the next morning comes. The officer comes around. And you got to remember, they change officers, right? So that the officer comes that's on the first shift, he comes around, he sees him in the bed. He does not realize that he's been in that bed since the night before. So he counts him and he keeps moving, right? Now, at a certain time, everybody's supposed to be up and going to work and getting your cell cleaned up and all this and that. So the officer tapped the flashlight on the door as he opened the door. He said, man, you need to get on up out that bed, partner. Now, they wasn't as strict on that back in the day as they are now, but he felt like that was enough and he kept walking. And when he finished his count, 15, 20 minutes later, when he came back around for another one, he looked and he saw him. He's still in the same position. He ain't moved. So he opened the door wide open. And he walked into the cell. And as he walked into the cell, he's got the flashlight and he's flashing it in Leon's face, but Leon is not moving. He don't know Leon ain't with us no more. So as he walks up on him, he sees that his face is bruised, it's purple. Now Leon, he's a light-skinned dude, but now he sees the bruises on his faces. And as he gets closer, he takes his finger and he puts his finger under his nose. Ain't nothing coming out. No air. He's not breathing. He hits the button. Officer needs assistance. Medical code. They rush to the unit. He steps out the door. He said, up here. And then when they get up there, the nurses get up there, they say, what's going on? They see it. They get over there to him. They pull the sheets in the blanket back. And when they pull the sheets in the blanket back, oh my God. Oh my God. What did they see? You're going to have to listen to the next episode to see what they saw. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to hear it, come back to the next episode. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting